In every leaf that sways gently in the breeze and every glimmer of light upon glass, there lives a quiet story, one about patience and beauty. Nature never hurries, yet it always arrives on time. Here, in this tranquil space filled with the colors of blossoms and the scent of damp earth, TERAFLORA Studio was born. A place where art meets serenity, and where ordinary objects discover their new meaning. This content was created with the help of artificial intelligence, AI, working like the gentle hands of an unseen artisan, weaving ideas, colors, and stories into a soothing visual experience. Each image, each word, is carefully crafted to invite you to pause for a moment, step away from the noise of the world, and rediscover the quiet miracles that surround us. We believe that beauty does not need to be perfect. Sometimes, it blooms from what was once forgotten, from a clear bottle once discarded, from a cracked coconut shell, from an old door given a new shade of color. Everything deserves a second chance to shine, if only we choose to see it with a gentle heart. If you find peace in this journey, let TERAFLORA Studio stay with you a little longer. Please subscribe so that each time we light a new story about gardens, about life, about the quiet elegance of simplicity, you'll be among the first to feel its warmth. Welcome to a garden grown from imagination, calmness, and love for nature. Welcome to TERAFLORA Studio. In the quiet hours of early morning, before the garden fully wakes, light begins to play. It slips through rows of colored bottles, emerald, amber, turquoise, each once forgotten, now reborn as part of a living wall. The first sunbeam touches them like a painter's brush, and suddenly the entire backyard feels alive with hues that whisper of renewal. Every bottle tells a secret. Some once held celebrations, some sorrows, but here they stand together, catching sunlight and scattering it among marigolds and asters. The air carries the scent of soil still damp from dawn, mingling with faint notes of chrysanthemum. You can almost hear the bottles hum when the wind moves gently through them, like wind chimes made of memory. There is a quiet poetry in how glass and flower coexist, one rigid and shaped by heat, the other soft, born from soil. Yet both, under sunlight, shimmer with the same grace. The wall does not separate, it connects. Between each gap of glass, vines stretch, exploring the spaces where light passes through. Bees find their way, resting briefly on petals before continuing their golden labor. Standing before this wall, you feel as if nature itself had conspired with human hands, not to create perfection but harmony. The bottles no longer speak of what they were. They now echo what they have become. A living mural of hope, a gentle defiance against waste, a reminder that beauty can be born from the overlooked. As evening falls, the last light fades behind the bottles, leaving a soft afterglow over the garden path. The colors dissolve, but the warmth remains, lingering like a quiet promise. Tomorrow, when the sun rises again, it will find this wall waiting, ready to turn light once more into wonder. Evening arrives gently, as if walking barefoot through the garden. The sun lowers itself beyond the hedges, leaving a sky brushed with lavender and gold. Along the path, small lights begin to breathe, one by one, each flame awakening inside a carved coconut shell. They glow like gentle stars fallen to earth, their light spilling through tiny hand-carved petals. Every shell once floated in salt and sun, once knew the whisper of waves. Now, in this garden, they hold fire instead of water. Yet the memory of the sea still lingers in their grain. As you walk the trail, the lanterns guide your steps with a warmth that feels almost human. The air smells of chrysanthemum and damp soil, and the soft hum of night insects begins its quiet symphony. Between flickers, shadows of leaves dance across the path. Fleeting, delicate, alive. There is a story in each curve of the shell, in every uneven cut of the carving knife. Imperfect, yet beautiful. Fragile, yet enduring. The lanterns do not try to outshine the stars. They simply exist to make darkness kinder, to remind whoever passes that light does not have to be loud to be seen. You stop midway, near the marigolds that catch the warm glow. Here, the trail feels like a memory you once lived. Perhaps a summer evening, perhaps a moment of peace long forgotten. The coconut shells breathe softly, their inner fire pulsing with life. When the night deepens, their glow grows gentler, fading into whispers of amber and gold. The last flame flickers before sleep, and the garden rests again. But even in darkness, something remains. The echo of warmth, the promise that beauty can be reborn from the simplest things. Tomorrow, when light returns, the shells will sleep under leaves and dew. But come nightfall, they will wake again, to remind the world how trash, in loving hands, can become poetry. In every forgotten door, there hides a memory of footsteps, of laughter once passing through, of sunlight spilling over wooden grain. When its hinges rust and its paint begins to fade, most see an ending. But the garden sees a beginning, set against the tender hum of bees and the soft rustle of petals. An old door painted in mint and blush finds new purpose. It no longer divides rooms, it connects seasons. Roses climb its frame, wrapping it with the language of renewal. The morning breeze moves through its carvings like a whisper from the past, gentle yet full of promise. You can feel it, that delicate balance between nostalgia and rebirth. The pastel shades seem to breathe, their colors deepening under the touch of sunlight. At the base, marigolds and chrysanthemums bloom freely, their roots finding strength near the wood that once stood in someone's home. Now it stands under open skies, humbled yet radiant. The door's handle, long untouched, glints faintly. No one turns it now, yet it opens into a world where decay becomes design and ruin transforms into romance. Every chipped edge tells of time's patience, and every vine that climbs it seems to say, beauty is not found in youth, but in endurance. As evening arrives, the trellis door glows softly under the fading light, its colors mellowing into shades of rose and cream. Fireflies drift by, weaving golden threads through the air. It's no longer just a structure. It's a soul in wood, standing quietly, teaching the garden how to grow through what it has lost. Tomorrow, new buds will climb higher. The pastel door will hold them all, just as it once held dreams behind its frame. Now, instead of closing spaces, it opens hearts, and the garden, once ordinary, becomes a haven painted with second chances. It begins with a single step, the kind that leaves no sound, only color. Beneath your feet, thousands of tiny circles catch the light. Some glimmer in green, others blush in coral or shine like old coins. Once discarded, they now sing together, forming a path that turns the garden into a living mosaic. Each bottle cap tells a quiet story. Some came from laughter shared over lemonade, others from quiet evenings spent alone. They have seen different days, different hands, yet here they meet, in this winding path that curves gently through asters and sedum. The morning sun touches them all, and the garden seems to smile. The mosaic doesn't try to impress. It simply exists, humble and radiant, teaching you that beauty isn't in what you add, but in what you gather with care. The caps fit together imperfectly, yet from a distance they form patterns that look like joy itself. Spontaneous, colorful, human. You walk slowly, following the rhythm of color. Golden marigolds lean in as if to watch, their petals echoing the yellows and reds below. Bees wander lazily from one bloom to another, and in their hum you hear a strange harmony, the sound of renewal. By afternoon, the path warms under sunlight, glowing softly like glass caught in memory. It no longer feels like trash beneath your feet. It feels like 1,000 second chances, pieced together by patience and imagination. When night arrives, the caps hold faint reflections of lantern light. The mosaic becomes a river of color flowing through the dark, guiding you gently back home. You realize then this is more than a path. It's proof that even the smallest, most overlooked pieces can lead somewhere beautiful. Morning drifts gently into the backyard, carrying with it the scent of earth and mint. In the quiet corner by the fence, something humble stands. A tower made not of marble or stone, but of old cans, bottles, and bits of wire once left for waste. Each has been cleaned, painted, and given new life, forming a vertical station where herbs now reach toward the sun. The light glints off a bottle's curve, turning glass into emerald. Water droplets slide along tin edges, making a soft metallic music. Basil and rosemary stretch upward, their leaves catching morning warmth. There's a sweetness in this simplicity, a beauty not designed, but found. You can almost hear the garden breathe. A bee lands on a marigold below, resting before drifting to the tiny lavender buds above. The air hums with quiet purpose, as if every reused object remembers its worth. Nothing here feels discarded. Everything belongs. This herb station isn't a showpiece. It's a small rebellion against waste. The bottles and cans, once invisible, now stand proud, painted in soft pastels, glowing against green foliage. It's proof that creation can spring from care, not perfection. As noon arrives, the herbs cast faint shadows on the wall. You pluck a leaf of mint, crush it lightly between your fingers, and the scent fills the air, cool, clean, alive. You realize that this simple act, this quiet transformation, is its own kind of art. When the day fades, the bottles glow under a low lantern light. The garden becomes a portrait of renewal, each recycled container a frame, each plant a stroke of life. Trash, once forgotten, has become treasure, not for its value, but for its story. And perhaps that's what every garden teaches. That beauty isn't something you find. It's something you build, slowly, from what you refuse to throw away. There was a time when metal meant decay, the slow crumble of rain and rust. But here, in this quiet garden, metal has found its voice again. What was once corroded and forgotten now stands proud, polished and painted, catching the sun like newly minted gold. In the heart of the backyard, rows of bloom stands rise like slender sculptures. They hold their flowers gently, marigolds, asters, sedum, as if guarding small flames of life. The morning light slides across their curved edges, soft and forgiving, turning what was once waste into art. The air smells faintly of dew and iron, of something reborn. You can almost hear the whisper of their old purpose, machine parts, tools, fragments of fences, now freed from their rust, reborn as vessels of color. Their transformation is quiet but profound. They no longer bear weight, they bear beauty. Each bloom stand carries its own personality. One tall and slender, another spiraled like a vine, another humble and low by the marigold bed. Together, they form a choir of shapes, a silent melody of renewal. Their pastel coats, mint, ivory, copper, glow softly against the greenery, reflecting sunlight in tiny, tender flares. By afternoon, the flowers seem to lean toward them, their petals touching the metal like gratitude. There is no harshness here, no cold steel, only warmth, painted and alive. The garden hums with balance. Handmade meets nature, endurance meets bloom. When dusk falls, lantern light shimmers on their surface. The stands gleam faintly beneath the stars, their silhouettes elegant, eternal. They are no longer reminders of industry or ruin. They are proof that even the hardest things can learn to shine again. And in that reflection, you see something familiar, the quiet resilience of transformation. There's a soft hum of wings before you hear it, the quiet flutter of small visitors arriving for breakfast. Beneath the gentle canopy of marigolds and sedum, a few coconut shells hang like little bowls of sunlight, each one polished smooth, painted with care, tied by hand with rope. They sway slightly in the breeze, holding seeds like tiny offerings to the morning. A sparrow lands first, then a finch, then another, their feathers shimmering gold and brown under the new light. They chirp softly, a language older than any garden. You stand still, watching the world grow alive one heartbeat at a time. The air smells of dew and wood. The shells, once adrift in salt and sea, now serve a gentler purpose, cradling life instead of echoing waves. Their curved edges catch light, turning each movement of the birds into a dance of reflection and shadow. There's something almost holy in this quiet exchange. The earth offering, the sky accepting. No wall divides them here, only branches, flowers, and the patience of time. The shells creak lightly as the wind passes through, a sound soft as laughter. By noon, the garden becomes a small orchestra. The flutter of wings blends with the whisper of leaves, and somewhere between the two, peace settles. You realize that this bistro is not built for show. It is built for kindness. When dusk falls, the coconut shells grow darker, turning into silhouettes against a lavender sky. A robin lingers for a moment longer before flying home. The shells remain, swaying, glowing faintly in the warm afterlight. Humble, beautiful, eternal. They are no longer reminders of what was thrown away, but of what can return. In the language of gardens, this is how grace speaks. Quietly, through simple things that choose to stay useful. In the back corner of the garden stands a door that opens to no room, no wall, no house. It stands alone, yet it feels as if the entire garden grows around it. Vines climbing its sides, light spilling through its glass panels, and the scent of marigolds drifting close by. Once, this door belonged to a home long gone. It's what carries the ghosts of hands that once turned its handle, of voices that passed beyond it. Now, repainted in soft mint and cream, it has found a gentler destiny, not to separate, but to frame beauty itself. You sit nearby, the afternoon air warm on your skin. Bees hum lazily around the asters. The door catches the sunlight, glowing faintly like something remembering its past. Its hinges no longer move, yet it opens the imagination in quiet ways. A portal to stillness, a passage to wonder. The wind stirs, carrying the scent of chrysanthemums. Their golden petals brush against the base of the door, and for a moment, everything feels connected. The past, the present, the soil, the air. Even the imperfections in the woods seem alive, softened by years and sunlight. In the hush of the evening, when lanterns begin to glow, the door stands like a guardian of dreams. Behind it lies nothing but more garden. And yet, when you step through, it feels as though you've entered another world. This is the secret of the reclaimed door. It doesn't lead you anywhere, but it reminds you that beauty doesn't need a destination. It only needs a frame and the courage to stand still. As the sky fades into pink and lavender, the garden falls quiet again. The door remains calm and eternal, holding within its frame the simple truth every gardener knows. That sometimes, the most beautiful places are those that once were broken and chose to bloom again. It begins as a row of bottles, once empty, once ordinary, now standing side by side, catching sunlight like shards of memory. Along the edge of the garden, they form a border of color, marking the line where soil meets imagination. The morning light arrives and plays upon the glass. Green becomes forest, amber becomes dawn, blue becomes dream. Marigolds lean toward their reflection, as though curious to see themselves through this prism of repurposed beauty. The bottles hum softly when the wind passes, a quiet chorus of glass and bloom. You walk along the path, your shadow stretching across the curve of light. Beneath your feet, the earth smells of moss and morning dew. The border doesn't confine, it celebrates. It turns what was once waste into a frame for life. A reminder that beauty doesn't need perfection, only intention. Some bottles are clear, some clouded. Some still hold faint scratches from their past. Yet, together, they shine brighter than anything new. It's in their differences that the pattern emerges, an imperfect rhythm that feels more human, more real. By afternoon, the garden becomes a dance of reflection. Each bottle glows like a small lantern of sunlight, scattering color over leaves and petals. Children would call it magic. Gardeners call it patience. Both are right. When evening comes, the bottles keep the last of the light. They glow faintly even after the sun has gone, their painted surfaces holding warmth like a memory refusing to fade. You sit beside them, watching the sky deepen into indigo, and realize these borders don't separate your garden. They protect its story. In the quiet that follows, you understand what the earth has been saying all along. Even the smallest, simplest things, when given care and color, can become the boundary between the forgotten and the beautiful. At first, they seem like drops of fallen moonlight, smooth, round, and impossibly still. Scattered among marigolds and asters, the metallic orbs rest quietly, reflecting everything that touches them. A petal, a cloud, a passing shadow. What were once scraps of forgotten metal are now silent storytellers, holding the garden in their curved reflections. The morning sun slides over them, turning bronze into gold and silver into soft pearl. The flowers nearby lean closer, curious to see themselves shimmering in their surface. There is something deeply peaceful about this play of light, a conversation between nature and what was once human-made. Each orb carries the faint memory of what it used to be. A pipe, a hinge, a machine part. But here, there is no weight of purpose, no noise of labor. Only the calm of transformation. The paint glows softly, pastel and gentle, blending perfectly with the greens and golds around it. You walk among them slowly, your reflection bending and shifting across their curves. In every sphere, a piece of the sky appears. In every shadow, the garden folds into itself. The orbs don't dominate, they complement. Their presence is subtle, elegant, humble. By afternoon, light ripples over their surfaces, scattering brightness across the soil. The garden feels alive with motion even in stillness. It's as if the earth itself has found a way to wear jewelry, understated, natural, timeless. As twilight falls, the metallic orbs begin to glow softly, holding on to the day's last warmth. Lantern light dances across them, and for a brief moment, it feels as though the stars have come down to rest among the flowers. These orbs are not decoration. They are meditation. They remind you that beauty doesn't shout. It reflects quietly, truthfully, the world that surrounds it. In their silence, the garden learns to see itself again. At the far end of the garden, half hidden behind ivy and marigold, stands a door that doesn't belong to any wall. It leans gently between hedges, weathered and worn, as if time itself forgot to close it. Faded blue paint curls at the edges, and its brass handle, tarnished yet beautiful, glints whenever sunlight passes by. No one knows where it leads. Some say it's only a frame, a relic placed for charm. Yet when the wind moves through the garden, the door seems to breathe, softly creaking, softly remembering. It stands not as an entrance, but as a story waiting to be told. The morning light finds it first, spilling gold across its panels. Asters bloom beside it, their petals brushing the wood like whispers. You step closer, drawn not by curiosity but by calm. The air feels cooler here, as though another world lingers just beyond. Through the cracks, the light shimmers, not harsh, but gentle, like water seen through leaves. The door is still, yet alive. It doesn't open, yet you feel welcomed. Perhaps that is its secret. It keeps the imagination wandering long after your feet have stopped. By afternoon, bees hum near the chrysanthemums that climb its base. The scene feels like something painted by memory, the meeting of decay and grace. The old wood holds a kind of dignity, softened by time but not defeated by it. When twilight falls, the garden hushes. The door glows faintly under lantern light, a quiet silhouette among blooms. You realize then that its magic isn't in leading somewhere new. It's in teaching you to see the world that's already here. The vintage door's secret gate doesn't promise adventure. It promises stillness. It doesn't demand to be opened. It invites you to linger. And in that lingering, surrounded by the scent of flowers and the warmth of the earth, you find a kind of peace that no destination could ever offer. As dusk begins to close the day and the light thins between the leaves, the garden slowly grows quiet again. The sound of the wind comes like a gentle whisper, as if the earth itself is saying thank you to every hand willing to touch it with care. Here, we learn that beauty does not grow only from soil, but also from patience and a sincere heart. Every bottle glowing beneath the evening sun, every coconut shell turned into a lantern, every old door standing proudly as a gate of flowers, all tell the same story, that life always offers a second chance to anything willing to be alive again. Through each creation, TERAFLORA Studio invites you to fall in love once more with that quiet process, to create, to beautify, and to give meaning to the small things often missed by hurried eyes. For behind every detail in a garden lies a message, that harmony blooms when human hands and nature learn to understand each other. If this warmth and calm have touched your heart, let the journey continue. Join us by subscribing to TERAFLORA Studio so that every new story about gardens, colors, and the quiet wonders of simple beauty can keep finding its way to your screen, soft, peaceful, and full of inspiration. Thank you for walking with us today. May every step you take after this be accompanied by a small light, the gentle kind that grows slowly, like a flower learning to bloom at dawn. Rest well, and we'll see you again in the next story from TERAFLORA Studio.